Now's the time for your son or daughter to be the teacher and grade your answers to the home drug test for parents. Good luck. First question. Although its effects vary widely, marijuana is clearly a potent drug.
True. Marijuana acts upon the central nervous system, affecting motor control, perception, and judgment.
Question 2. Marijuana contains a powerful chemical which incites users to commit acts of violence.
False. Marijuana does not drive people to crime. However, it does release inhibitions and twist judgments to the extent that a person under the influence of marijuana might commit a crime he otherwise would not.
Question 3. Once a person smokes marijuana, he will soon become a drug addict.
False. Marijuana is not physically addicting. However, smokers may come to have a psychological dependence on the drug.
Question 4. Marijuana cannot be legally purchased anywhere in this country.
True. Both federal and state statutes prohibit the transfer of marijuana from one person to another, and its use is prohibited throughout the United States, except for certain authorized research projects.
We'll score your answers on marijuana later. Now let's see how you fared on the LSD questions. The first question was, LSD is easily recognizable by its distinctive color and taste.
False. In its liquid form, LSD is odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Yet it is one of the most potent drugs known. A trip requires only a tiny dose of the practically undetectable substance.
Question 2. Although LSD is not physically habit-forming, it can cause severe psychological dependence.
True. LSD users often show a strong desire to continue taking the drug, and LSD users often develop a missionary sense about LSD, urging others to try the drug.
Question 3. Individuals have different reactions to LSD, and the drug is totally unpredictable in its effects.
True. 4 common effects of LSD ingestion are illusions and hallucinations, anxiety, often panic, severe depression, and confusion. However, there is no way to predict when any or all of these symptoms will occur.
Question 4. Because LSD is a so-called consciousness-expanding drug, a user's senses and perceptions are markedly improved when he is under the influence of the drug.
False. Although users may have a subjective feeling of improvement, there is often an objective loss of function. For example, a drummer in a band might think LSD is improving his playing, but lose his job because his rhythm has actually deteriorated.
Since amphetamines and barbiturates are so common, you undoubtedly scored well on the following questions. Or did you? The first question was, both amphetamines and barbiturates act directly on the central nervous system. The amphetamines as a stimulant, the barbiturates as a depressant.
True. And under medical supervision, these are highly beneficial characteristics.
Question 2. Neither amphetamines nor barbiturates are physically addicting.
False. Used without medical supervision, barbiturates are totally addicting drugs, creating both physical and psychological dependence. High-dose amphetamine users, too, develop a serious dependence on the drug.
Question 3. Each year, hundreds of deaths are attributable to the accidental or improper use of barbiturates.
True. Each year, thousands of deaths are attributable to improper use of barbiturates.
Question 4. Amphetamines are a great help to students because they can be counted on to keep them awake and alert during critical examination periods.
False. Although this myth may attract students, the fact is that amphetamines may wear off suddenly and a student will black out in the middle of an examination, or he may stay awake or hallucinate, filling his exam book with gibberish.
Our final test section dealt with the narcotic heroin. Question 1 was, studies have shown that most heroin addicts did not believe they'd get hooked when they first started using the drug.
True. Although most heroin users started with other drugs and could be assumed to know something about heroin's potential for addiction, a surprising number felt they could use this dangerous drug without becoming dependent upon it.
Question 2. The use of heroin is largely confined to big city slums and other low-income areas.
True. Although heroin use is spreading into the middle classes at an alarming rate, the area of largest use still coincides with the area of easiest access, the city ghetto.
Question 3. From the user's viewpoint, the most important effect of heroin is euphoria, a sense of well-being.
True, at least when he first begins to use the drug. But after a while, the chronic user has to maintain his habit, not so much to achieve euphoria as to return to normal.
Question 4. Heroin leads its users to commit sex crimes and other acts of violence.
False. The person under the influence of heroin is ordinarily passive and withdrawn, with a significant lessening of sexual interest. However, financial necessity may force addicts to crime or prostitution to support their habit.
Well, let's see how you did. If you missed no more than 2 of these test questions, consider yourself at the head of the class. If you missed 2 to 4 questions, you probably learned some surprising facts. And if you missed more than 4, perhaps you need the kind of drug education your school is giving its students. But there's still plenty of room for discussion about each facet of today's drug scene. So why don't you take some time right now with your teenager to talk about drugs? Technical assistance for this test was by the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, the Department of Justice.